Reclaiming your self-esteem, overcoming the shadows of past trauma and abuse. Self-esteem is the cornerstone of a healthy, fulfilling life. However, for those who have experienced past traumas and abuse, rebuilding self-esteem can be a challenging journey. We will delve deep into the complex realm of overcoming self-esteem issues related to past traumas and abuse. Our aim is not only to offer guidance, but also to provide a comprehensive resource that surpasses the existing content on Google's first page. In the intricate tapestry of human experience, there exists a thread that many of us carry, often hidden from plain sight but undeniably present: the shadows of past trauma and abuse. These shadows, born from the dark corners of our history, can cast a long and haunting presence over our lives, affecting our thoughts, emotions, and actions in profound ways. Trauma and abuse are not confined to any one corner of the world, nor are they limited by age, gender, or background. They are universal experiences that touch the lives of countless individuals, often leaving them grappling with the daunting challenge of overcoming the weight of their past. Whether it be physical, emotional, or psychological, the scars left by trauma and abuse can persist long after the wounds have ostensibly healed. Yet, within the human spirit resides an innate resilience, a powerful force that compels us to heal, grow, and transform. This force, often dormant beneath layers of pain and suffering, has the capacity to guide us towards recovery and restoration. It is the beacon of hope that lights our path out of the shadows and into the warmth of healing and self-discovery. This exploration seeks to shed light on the journey of overcoming the shadows of past trauma and abuse. It is a journey that is deeply personal, marked by both challenges and triumphs. As we embark on this quest for healing, we will delve into various facets of the process, including understanding the impact of trauma, confronting the demons of the past, seeking support and professional help, and ultimately, reclaiming our power and identity. The pages that follow are not a definitive roadmap, for each journey is unique, shaped by the individual experiences and resilience of those who undertake it. Rather, they serve as a guide, a companion for those who find themselves on this path. By sharing insights, stories, and strategies, we hope to illuminate the way forward and inspire courage, resilience, and hope in those who are ready to face their shadows. This journey is not one to be taken lightly, but it is one that holds the promise of transformation and liberation. It is a journey towards reclaiming our lives, rewriting our narratives, and emerging from the shadows of past trauma and abuse as survivors, stronger, wiser, and more compassionate beings. The connection between trauma, abuse, and self-esteem. Understanding the intricate web that connects trauma, abuse, and self-esteem is essential to the healing process. 1. Defining trauma and abuse. Trauma can encompass various experiences, from accidents to natural disasters, but for the purpose of this post, we will focus on the emotional and psychological impact of abuse. 1. Abuse can take many forms, including physical, emotional, sexual, or verbal. 2. Impact on self-esteem. Trauma and abuse can erode self-esteem by instilling feelings of shame, guilt, and worthlessness. 2. Survivors often internalize negative beliefs about themselves as a result of the abuse they endured. Trauma and abuse, whether experienced in childhood or adulthood, can profoundly impact an individual's self-esteem. Self-esteem is the subjective perception of one's worth, value, and overall sense of self. It plays a pivotal role in shaping our mental and emotional well-being. When trauma and abuse enter the picture, they can erode self-esteem in several ways. Negative self-perception. Trauma and abuse often lead survivors to internalize negative beliefs about themselves. They may blame themselves for the abuse, believing they deserved it or were somehow responsible. These distorted self-perceptions can persist long after the traumatic events have ended, leading to a deeply ingrained sense of unworthiness. Shame and guilt. Survivors of trauma and abuse often carry profound feelings of shame and guilt. These emotions can be crippling to self-esteem, as they reinforce the belief that one is inherently flawed or bad. Survivors may feel ashamed of what happened to them or guilty for not being able to prevent or stop it. Self-doubt. Trauma can instill a pervasive sense of self-doubt. Survivors may question their own judgments, decisions, and abilities. This self-doubt can hinder personal growth and prevent individuals from pursuing their goals or aspirations. Emotional impact. Trauma and abuse can lead to emotional dysregulation, making it challenging to manage emotions effectively. High levels of anxiety, depression, anger, or numbness can further undermine self-esteem, as individuals may perceive themselves as emotionally unstable or incapable of handling life's challenges. Relationship patterns. Trauma can shape unhealthy relationship patterns, including codependency or fear of intimacy. These patterns can reinforce negative self-esteem, as individuals may feel they are only valued in relation to others or are unworthy of healthy, loving relationships. Self-care neglect. Survivors of trauma and abuse may struggle with self-care and self-compassion. They may prioritize the needs of others over their own, neglecting their physical and emotional well-being. This neglect can reinforce feelings of unworthiness. Avoidance and isolation. Coping with the aftermath of trauma and abuse can lead to social withdrawal and avoidance of triggering situations. Isolation can exacerbate feelings of loneliness and reinforce negative self-perceptions. Acknowledging the impact. 1. Acceptance and validation. The first step in healing is acknowledging that the trauma and abuse happened and accepting your feelings about it. Seek validation from trusted friends, family members, or a therapist. 2. Understanding coping mechanisms. Recognize that the coping mechanisms developed during trauma, such as dissociation or numbing, were survival strategies. 2. They may have served you then, but they can hinder your self-esteem now. Acknowledging the impact of trauma and abuse on self-esteem is not an admission of weakness, but rather a courageous step toward empowerment and recovery. It opens the door to self-awareness, self-compassion, and healing. By confronting the emotional scars and negative beliefs, individuals can begin to challenge them, seek support, and embark on a path toward rebuilding their self-esteem. It's important to emphasize that healing from trauma and abuse is not a linear journey, and there is no set timeline for recovery. It is a deeply personal process that requires patience, self-compassion, and often the guidance of trained professionals. Through acknowledgement, self-care, and a commitment to growth, survivors can gradually reclaim their sense of self-worth and rewrite their narratives as resilient, empowered individuals. Rebuilding self-esteem. Rebuilding self-esteem is a transformative journey that requires time, patience, self-compassion, and effort. Here are some steps and strategies to help you rebuild your self-esteem. Self-awareness and acceptance. Begin by acknowledging your feelings and beliefs about yourself, especially the negative ones. Self-awareness is the first step toward change. Accept that it's okay to have vulnerabilities and imperfections. Nobody is perfect, and self-esteem isn't about being flawless. It's about valuing yourself despite your imperfections. Challenge negative self-talk. Pay attention to your inner dialogue and challenge negative self-talk. Replace self-critical thoughts with more balanced and compassionate ones. Ask yourself if you would speak to a friend in the same way you speak to yourself. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to a loved one. Set realistic goals. Set achievable goals for yourself, both big and small. Achieving these goals can boost your confidence and sense of competence. Break larger goals into smaller, manageable steps to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Celebrate your achievements. Celebrate your successes, no matter how small they may seem. Acknowledging your accomplishments, even minor ones, can help reinforce positive self-esteem. Keep a journal of your achievements and moments when you felt proud of yourself. Self-compassion. Practice self-compassion by treating yourself with the same kindness, patience, and understanding you would offer to a friend facing similar challenges. Remind yourself that it's okay to make mistakes. They are opportunities for learning and growth. Seek support. Reach out to friends, family, or a therapist for emotional support and guidance. Talking to someone you trust can provide validation and help you process your feelings. Consider joining support groups or therapy specifically tailored to trauma or abuse survivors. Healthy self-care. Prioritize self-care activities that nurture your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. This includes getting enough sleep, eating well, exercising, and practicing relaxation techniques. Engage in hobbies and activities that bring you joy and a sense of accomplishment. Set boundaries. Learn to set and maintain healthy boundaries in your relationships. This includes saying no when necessary and protecting your emotional well-being. Boundaries help create a sense of safety and control in your interactions with others. Positive affirmations. Use positive affirmations to challenge and replace negative self-beliefs. Repeating affirmations like, "I am worthy," "I am resilient," or "I deserve happiness," can be helpful. Professional help. Consider therapy or counseling with a qualified mental health professional, particularly one experienced in trauma or self-esteem issues. Therapy can provide you with tools and support tailored to your specific needs. Practice gratitude. Cultivate a habit of gratitude by regularly reflecting on the things you are thankful for. This can shift your focus toward the positive aspects of your life. Mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness practices and meditation can help you become more present, reduce self-criticism, and manage anxiety or depression. Remember that rebuilding self-esteem is not a linear process, and setbacks are a natural part of growth. Be patient with yourself and celebrate the progress you make along the way. It may take time, but with consistent effort and self-compassion, you can gradually rebuild your self-esteem and develop a healthier, more positive relationship with yourself. Reconnecting with self. 1. Mind-body practices. Yoga, meditation, and mindfulness techniques can help you reconnect with your body and reduce the physical and emotional symptoms of trauma. 2. Rediscovering interests. Reconnect with hobbies and interests you may have abandoned during or after the trauma. 2. Engaging in activities you love can boost self-esteem and provide a sense of purpose. 3. Setting boundaries. Learning to set and enforce healthy boundaries is vital for protecting your well-being and self-esteem. Navigating triggers and flashbacks. Grounding techniques. Develop grounding techniques to manage triggers and flashbacks. 1. These can include deep breathing exercises or using sensory objects to anchor yourself in the present. 2. EMDR therapy. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. EMDR therapy is effective in treating trauma-related issues, especially when dealing with intrusive memories. Moving forward. Forgiveness and closure. Understand that forgiveness is about releasing the burden of anger and resentment for your own well-being, not condoning the abuser's actions. 1. Closure may or may not involve direct contact with the abuser. 2. Post-traumatic growth. Recognize that surviving trauma can lead to personal growth and resilience. 3. Many survivors emerge from their experiences with a newfound sense of purpose and strength. Seek professional guidance. It's crucial to emphasize that healing from trauma and abuse, and rebuilding self-esteem, is a highly individualized process. While the strategies mentioned here can be incredibly helpful, seeking professional guidance from therapists, counselors, or support groups is often the most effective path to recovery. Conclusion. Reclaiming your self-esteem after past trauma and abuse is a journey filled with challenges and triumphs. It's a journey that demands courage, self-compassion, and patience. By acknowledging the impact of trauma, seeking support, and adopting healing practices, you can begin to rebuild your self-esteem and, ultimately, rediscover your sense of self. The journey of navigating trauma, abuse, and self-esteem is a profound and deeply personal odyssey, one marked by resilience, courage, and the unwavering pursuit of healing and self-discovery. As we conclude this exploration, it is essential to reflect on the insights and understandings gained along the way. Trauma and abuse cast a long shadow over the lives of survivors, leaving scars that extend far beyond the physical. These experiences shape our self-esteem, influencing how we perceive ourselves and interact with the world. They can plant seeds of doubt, shame, and self-criticism that, if left unattended, can overshadow our potential for happiness and fulfillment. Yet, within the darkness of these experiences lies the potential for transformation. Acknowledging the impact of trauma and abuse on self-esteem is the first courageous step toward healing. It is a declaration that we refuse to be defined solely by our past and are committed to reclaiming our sense of self-worth. The path to rebuilding self-esteem is multifaceted, demanding patience and self-compassion. It involves challenging negative self-beliefs, seeking support from loved ones and professionals, setting healthy boundaries, and practicing self-care. It calls for a shift in our inner dialogue from self-criticism to self-affirmation and self-acceptance. Throughout this journey, survivors learn the profound art of self-compassion. They discover that healing is not a linear process but a series of forward steps and occasional setbacks. They recognize that self-worth is not contingent upon external validation but is an inherent birthright. In the process of rebuilding self-esteem, survivors emerge as resilient beings, drawing strength from their experiences and using them as catalysts for growth. They learn that vulnerability is a source of strength, not weakness, and that the scars they bear are symbols of their resilience and survival. The stories of survivors, their triumphs and their setbacks, serve as beacons of hope for others who tread this challenging path. They remind us that healing is possible, and that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, the human spirit has the capacity to rise, to flourish, and to shine. In concluding this exploration, we honor the courage of survivors who confront their shadows and emerge stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. We celebrate the transformative power of self-compassion and the enduring capacity of the human heart to heal. May this journey be a source of inspiration and a testament to the indomitable spirit that resides within each of us, guiding us toward the light of self-esteem, self-love, and self-empowerment.